right, here we go, everybody. Welcome to the Viva Connections SharePoint Framework bi-weekly sync. Oh, yeah. So I'm your host, Chris Kent. We're going to talk about all sorts of exciting things. So we've got a pretty packed agenda today. So we'll give you all the updates on all the community projects and initiatives that are going on there. There's always lots and lots of stuff going on, even in the summer, if you can believe it. It's crazy times. There we go. And then we're going to do that together mode picture. And then we've got three great demos, right? So we've got Guido, Harsh, and then Adam are going to be showing you all sorts of really cool stuff with the SharePoint framework and with ACEs and everything else in between. So hang on for that. That'll be fun. And let's get going here. So first off, let's talk about our community, right? And all the different things we have available to you. So we've got all of these things, right? So tons of videos, right? We've got the LinkedIn group if you want to come over there for some professional discussions, right? We've also got a Discord group of some unprofessional discussions, or, you know, anywhere in between. But you can share stuff back and forth there. Anyone can post. Anyone can ask questions and reply. It's a great spot just to have that interaction with each other, help each other out, jump in, answer some questions. You know, we mentioned things like the SharePoint Stack Exchange earlier. That's not listed here because that's not one of our initiatives, but a lot of us are heavily involved in that as well. So that's a great place to ask your questions too. And then of course you can go to our open source repos. We've got tons of them. You can log issues there. You can ask questions on those directly. If you've got stuff directly related to those initiatives or efforts, or if you want to contribute back. And then of course we've got lots of samples. Anything from extensions to web parts to list formatting, right? To some Power Apps type stuff to everything in between, right? We got all sorts of scripts and PowerShell, everything. So samples are a great place to start. I highly recommend you start there, right? Find one that's pretty close to what you want and then edit that. You'll get a lot further along there. You may even find what you're looking for already. And then you turn it in, your boss says, wow, you're the best. All right, and then of course, head on over to our community home site. That's that aka.ms/community/home, right? We've got a brand new redesigned site from Stefan and Hugo, right? And some other people here have been involved in that. It's looking beautiful, but this is your one-stop shop for everything, right? So all of those open source repos I mentioned, all of our projects, all of the calls, like the one you're on right now. If you want to find out who's on the team, how to contact people, if you want to get involved, you know, in contributing here, you want to read a blog, you want to do all that stuff, all of that is here. We'll post links directly to individual things, but this is the only link you really need to get all the other stuff. All right, and then of course we have the new Microsoft Community Learning channel. This is YouTube. David, you want to say anything else about this? Because I don't really know anything beyond this.
Yeah, sure.
YouTube.
Why not? Yeah, it's YouTube. Yep. So go forth and watch. Yeah, YouTube and chill. No, it is the same channel that we all know and love, but it's just been renamed to be a little bit more inclusive of things like Dynamics and Copilot and other technologies that are always cropping up and being renamed. So we wanted to make it a little more landscape aware of everything. And we're going to have other things there as well. So Microsoft Community Learning Channel, same one you know and love, but hey, just needed to get it renamed because that's what Microsoft does.
Yeah,
Chris,
okay,
back to you.
Gotcha. I gotcha. All right, so this is what it's called this year. It's our YouTube channel, so check it out. And we'll see what's going on there. But there's tons and tons of stuff there, right? So lots of interaction available there as well. So then, of course, we've got our community calls. So you're on one right now. So good job. You already knew about one, or you're watching a recording of one. So, you know, slightly less of a good job, but, you know, good job still. Just kidding. But if you are interested in joining these calls live, we've got chat going the whole time. People are answering questions back and forth, or just, you know, posting weird GIFs. That's cool too. But come on in here and join one of our calls here. So every other week we've got, we alternate between the SharePoint Framework, Viva Connections call, and then the general development call and Power Platform. Not sure I'm saying that all right, but they also have a Power Platform monthly call. We've got Office add-ins. We've got every call in between, and we have a Microsoft calls on Tuesdays, although those are on break right now for the summer, as you can see right there. But if you go down here to this AKS community calls, right, you'll get, you can actually download an ICS that'll stay up to date to your calendar and so on. Okay. All right, and be sure to check this out on the 3rd of September. There you go. Woo! That's all I'm saying about that. And then if you want to present, all right, so you want to be one of these awesome demo presenters like we've got here today. If you've got an idea, even if it's just, you know, you think it's pretty basic, it's probably not basic to a lot of other people, right? So getting started stuff is always highly recommended and highly welcome. The only thing we're just asking is it's not a marketing thing, right? But if you've got something, it doesn't even have to be open source, right? If you build something cool using this technology, you're going to inspire others and help others to do something similar. So come on over here, fill this out, and we'll get you scheduled for a demo. We can help you fill out slides. We can coach you through any part of it if you're nervous, all that stuff. All right. And David.
Yes, Chris. Oh, me, yes. Okay, thank you. Yeah, sharing is caring. I'm kidding, everybody. We got this together. Yeah, sharing is caring is a program that provides hands-on guidance. And what does that mean? It means that we are going to work together in a live Teams call to accomplish cool stuff. So just last week, actually, just a few days ago, this week, it's been a long week, we had a sharing is caring session. It was awesome. Lots of folks joined. What did we do? We submitted a pull request in GitHub together, which was an actual contribution to the community, a real live pull request. And if you don't even know what a pull request is, that's why you should join the next sharing is caring. It is safe space, which means we do not record it. You can absolutely feel free to ask any and all questions that you would like. And it is a safe space to do that, because sometimes we wonder, is it going to go recorded? Should I already know the answer to this? Would Chris know? Right? That's what we all ask ourselves every day. Would Chris know this? And if we think you would, we're afraid to ask. No, yeah, I know, probably not, right? But in any case, it is a lot of fun. You're going to meet other members of the community. You're going to work together, and it is fantastic. So we are getting that next session scheduled, because we just finished one a couple days ago. So be on the lookout for that. You go to ak.ms/sharingiscaring. And of course, check out our maturity model practitioners with Mark Anderson from Praxis and the rest of the team. That's a great one as well. And we're spinning some more up and getting more involved to scale. So thank you, everybody, for the support on that and your patience as we start beefing that back up. So, but once you have contributed to the community, what do you get? Well, we want to recognize you. That's our community recognition program powered by Credly. It is official and accredited badges, like those badges you used to get when you get certified. So it's a really great way to show that you are making a difference in the community. Who would you show that to? Well, of course, you want to show it to mom and dad and the kids and aunts and uncles and all that. But you might want to show your boss. You might want to show your clients, because it shows that you're taking the extra step. So again, because these are real and accredited badges, they are absolutely showcased on the Credly site. You can put them on LinkedIn. You can associate them to your LinkedIn profile, Twitter, your resume, all the above. And we encourage you to do that. And we've got some fun programs coming up. Summer of Samples with Hugo Bernier. We've got our Multiverse Contributor. We're going to do a Prompt October badge for all those prompts that we're creating. And so it's going to be a really fun time. Get registered if you're not already opted in, ak.ms/community/recognition. Absolutely free. We cover all the costs, and we love recognizing you for the amazing stuff that you're doing. So, Chris, back to you.
All right. So now let's talk about those open source projects. So again, if you're like, ooh, I love them shiny badges, how could I get one? Well, we're going to showcase several updates here, but all of these projects accept contributions. So if you're looking to contribute, whether that's to fix a typo, fix some documentation, or add a whole new features, that's an excellent opportunity for you here. So let's see. I don't think we've got Julie or Bo on the call, do we?
Yeah, we do.
Oh, wow, Julie, wow, I summoned her.
Nice try, Chris Kent, but I am here.
Well, she's not here, so I'll talk about it. All right, just kidding.
All right, people. Version 4.2 was released on June 17th. We had no bugs. We are feeling pretty amazing about the version 4 release. We've had minimal breakage, so we're pretty happy about that. Also, all of 4.2 was package updates for different dependencies that we take, making sure those are updated and to the latest versions, and some documentation updates. That's where we definitely had some misses, so we've been doing some updates there. Again, on version 3 support, we did do an update, version 3.25 release to roll out a fix for graph batching, but in the future, so likely for another 5-ish months or so, we will maintain version 3 as long as it's a breaking change that we absolutely need to change. But after that, we will not be supporting version 3. So get yourself moved to version 4. Not a lot of things should block you from doing that. But if you have questions about that upgrade, feel free to submit an issue in our issues list. And as usual, if we have a breaking change, you can check out the V4 nightly builds, which would have any recently merged changes before release in them. And so that is all I have for you today. Chris Kent, back to you.
Wow. Well, I got to say, minimal breakage is actually most of my commit messages. So that's
I think that should be a band name.
My coding. Yeah,
it's a band name. Minimal
there
breakage.
You go. It's perfect.
There you go.
Let's see. I don't think Gary. I don't think you're on the call. Are you, Gary? I'll ask you. Assuming you're
Gary
not on the call. He is perfect. But Gary, you got to do the talking now, Gary.
Gary, we can't speak.
Okay.
Hold on. He's He's showing his attendee, but we made him a
Mixed
presenter.
issues. Okay, maybe I can cover for him. And
There you go, Adam. Yeah.
Okay, so hi everybody, this is CLI for Microsoft 365, and we have released just our latest beta, and towards the end of the month, so just in a couple of days, we'll have a new minor release with all of those things we're presenting now on the slide. We added some new comments from the Microsoft Entra site, Microsoft on SharePoint Online. So, for example, the possibility to archive your site collection or unarchive it, or list the SharePoint site admin. So this is really cool. And also we created a new, added a new command to the Teams area where it's possible now to upgrade your installed app, which is a personal app. If you want to check out all of the latest updates, please be sure to check out the release notes and add the Add Next tag to install the latest version of CLI. Follow us on the X, Twitter kind of thing. Join our Discord server, and back to you, Chris.
All right. Well, I think we've got Gary. So, Gary, you want to add anything, or should we just move on to Dev Proxy?
Nothing to add. Perfect overview from Adam there.
Dev Proxy.
Dev Proxy. Okay, so the new release of Dev Proxy, this went live this morning. So we have tons of updates. We've got updates for minimal permissions. So this is checking and making sure that you're using scopes with the least privilege, especially when you're working with graph APIs. You want to, make sure that you don't have high privilege scopes. You can use proxy to detect whether you're using the minimal scopes or you're using too many, and you need to actually remove them as well. Some really cool updates that we've added in this release, and this is around using local LLMs and Llama. So this is an LLM running on your machine, and Dev Proxy being able to use this locally running LLM at no cost, because it's just all running on your machine, to do things like simulating responses from Azure OpenAI services, so that if you want to test real-like responses without actually hitting the services, incurring costs, you can use proxy to do that. And we've gone a step further as well. We've updated our Open API spec generator plugin to actually use a local LLM so that you get better endpoint IDs, descriptions based on what you're sending through. So really cool stuff. If that's interesting you, definitely go and check that out. We've got a few of the smaller updates. So the ability now to filter requests on request headers as well. So if you only want to track requests where you're sending a specific header through, maybe it's a custom property, you only want to see those requests come through proxy, you can now do that. We're excluding the options requests, and a nice little utility if you're using HTTP files, which I know a lot of developers do use. You can actually generate those HTTP files from the requests that Dev Proxy records. Few more integration updates with Azure API Center and a new version of the Visual Studio Code extension as well, which is Dev Proxy Toolkit. So yeah, if you're really interested, go to aka.ms/devproxy. We also have a release announcement on the Microsoft 365 developer blogs if you want to go and take a read. And that's it. Back to you, Chris.
I will say, has anyone ever noticed that if you say LLM, it's almost the same as trying to pronounce it like LLM. LLM. Anyway, sorry. There you go. That's just fun fact for you. All right. So let's talk about these reusable controls here. Let's see. I think I'm going to talk about these. Interrupt me if that's not true. So we've got all sorts of cool stuff here. So if you haven't used these, any kind of SPFx development, whether you're targeting wherever you're targeting, these are awesome, right? So we've got a ton of React controls. So if you're using React, a ton of controls that you've probably seen, things like, the settings, so on, or the title. It's very simple ones like that, all the way to full-on charts and everything in between. Then we've got the property controls as well. So there's a bunch of out-of-the-box property controls. I say a bunch. There's probably about 7 or 8. And there's way more here, right? So if you want things like opinionated things like list pickers, taxonomy stuff, right? Any of that kind of stuff, people pickers, all of that, you're going to need to use something like the React property controls and add those on. So that is awesome. So take a look at those. And then, of course, let's hook over here. So Adam, you want to tell us about the toolkit?
Yeah, sure. So hi back. Hi again, everybody. I'm back. So SharePoint Framework Toolkit is a VS Code extension that will boost your development in SharePoint Framework solutions. We've just released a new minor version 3.3, which now has the SPFx GitHub chat participant as part of this release. So it's no longer a pre-release kind of thing, but a normal minor release you will now get, but still you need to use the VS Code Insiders and the GitHub Copilot in pre-release extension in the pre-release state. I will also do a short part of my demo later on during this call. We had some small refactoring and a contribution from Sarubah Tripathi, which added. So thank you very much, and a huge thanks to the community, who's all of you started contributing, which is really awesome to see. And do apologize, I still haven't reviewed all of those PRs, but I will get back to them by the end of this month. I was really busy with the CLI, so we could release CLI and add as much as possible, because we do the minor release at the end of every month. With SPFx Toolkit, we do release whenever we want. So as soon as I will go over those PRs and merge them, there will be a new release with some cool, awesome improvements, especially to the SPFx and pull gallery, which is also part of this extension. Okay, be sure to give this extension a try if you're doing any kind of SPFx development, and happy coding, everybody. Back to you, Chris.
All right, Casper, tell us all about the search.
Well, we've released the final version of the 4.12 release, and it contains lots of goodies, like the ability to group by multiple levels. It's one of the features, and we also, as I said 40 days ago, that we also have an Italian version now. So take it for a spin, because it's pretty good, and we have a lot of new features in it. And please take a look at the release notes, because as I said, there's a lot of good stuff in it. So back to you, Chris.
Woo woo. All right.
Woo!
So I can't switch. There you go, David. Tell us all about these things.
Well, I got good news and bad news on the samples, everybody. Well, the bad news is we have no new samples. But the good news is we are ready and willing and open for new samples. So Hugo is going to be processing these samples soon. Get yours in there. We want to see it on this slide and show off the amazing work that you're doing. If we go to the next slide, the exact same thing for aces. So we'd love to see some new aces. We got a badge for that. We'd love to recognize you. Anoop and Derek Cash Peterson are handling that, and they're great guys. So don't be afraid to get involved. All right. Chris, back to you, I guess, or back to me soon.
And just to confirm, that was not a sound effect. That did come from your body, as Tim was pointed out, I assume.
What? Oh, the wah wah wah.
All right,
Yeah,
let's do some pictures.
I'm like the guy in Spaceballs, right? Yeah, it's Police Academy, all that. All right.
Turn on your cameras, David. You got
this? Yeah. Yep. I am loading everything up. Let's get that loaded. And if you want to turn those cameras on, Y is together mode not working. Give us 1 second, everybody. All right, we should be able to. There we go. All right, we got some more room for everybody. If you'd like to turn on your camera, let's give it just a quick momento, and I'll get that loaded. And here we go. All right, we are a little behind schedule, so we will turn on the recording right now and go. All right, show everybody how awesome you are. Thank you for attending today, everybody. You look great. Great to see you each and every single time. And we really, look, we got a little visitor today. Excellent. All right, starting young. Okay, Chris, back to you.
All right. I think it's weird to call Casper a little visitor, though. All right, here we go. So let's jump into our demos. All right, so Guido, you're up. Are you ready? Take over whenever you are.
I'm ready.
All right, it's all yours.
Just a sec. Sure. Okay. Here I am. Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Guido Zambarda. I'm a Microsoft Certified Senior Software Developer at psys.com, and these are my social handles. And feel free to contact me or follow my blog for more posts. Okay. If the slides, okay. I will start setting a little bit of context to show you my demo. So in this demo, we want to have a SharePoint Framework solution with an adaptive card extension that will display a line chart showing the stocks that we want, because, you know, stocks are better. So switching to the demo. This is my demo environment, and down here, you can see 3 instances of my adapted card extension with the newly added adapted card line chart card view class. So as you can see, you can have multiple lines, meaning whatever you want. In my case, as I said, those are simple stock symbols. And there are a possible of 2 views. Here I'm using third-party APIs with a restricted daily limit, so I won't refresh much the page just to don't get throttled. But here, if I go and edit mode, just to show you, we have the property pane with the symbols that we want to load, an interval to retrieve the data from the third-party APIs, and the value to show of the of each symbols. There are 2 pages here. I won't cover the second page because there's the API key, and I won't show you. And one other thing that I want to display you is that if we have 3 different lines in our chart, those are reduced to the first one in the medium-sized card. So pay attention that if you have 3 different lines in the large view, you can have only one in the small view. So that said, just switch to the code. And this line chart has been introduced with the SharePoint Framework version 1.19. So be sure to have that installed to use it. And for the property pane, as I showed you, there are a little bit of configuration where we have the symbols that we want to load, the interval for the values, the type of values we want to show, and of course the API keys. In the main class, we have the loading part for the data, and to load that, I will use an interface with the basic props, so I can load the configuration from the property pane, and also we'll be using the state, and in particular the data property, which is an iData point. And I will show you later how this is configured. So proceeding, we have the fetch data method, which I will not cover in detail, but just retrieves the data from the third-party APIs. And the main important things is that we have the series data, which will be binded with the card view property to really show the data. And that is an iData point of data. This has been introduced with the line chart card view, and we'll show data based on the x-axis and the y-axis, which in our case, the x-axis will be the date of the value we want to show, and the y-axis is the effective value of the stock symbol. Then we will just parse all the data from the API and construct our array of objects to be binded in the state. And then we have finally our card view, which is a card view that extends the base component card view. And in particular, it has the iData visualization card view parameters, which has been introduced with the SharePoint Framework version 1.19. And here, yeah, this is not useful now. Okay, and here we just construct our series data, which is a line chart series of the same type that we defined before. And here we just push the data from the state into our series data variable. And then we'll just simply return the line circle view, which is the main component that will be displayed in the ACE. And here we just simply define that the data visualization kind will be line. And by now, it's the only supported type. Maybe in a future version of the SharePoint framework, there will be more types available. And then we just bind our variable to the series value of the body of the line chart curve view. And that's it. This is pretty straightforward. It's pretty nice. And I think it's a great advance in the SharePoint framework possibilities. So giving just some references, you can check the release notes of the SharePoint framework 1.19. And there are also in that document a couple of videos that displays how to use better the line chart. And also, if you want, there's my source code in my GitHub repo, and feel free to contact me if you want. Thank you all. Back to you, Chris.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Guido. That was great. And we'll jump over here to Harsh. So Harsh, if you want to go and get your stuff ready, you can take over the screen share whenever you're ready. So Harsh is a first-time presenter here. So we're very happy to have you, and looking forward to seeing your poll web part.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Chris, for the introduction. Everyone able to see my screen, right?
Got it.
Yeah, so hello, myself is Bhavsar, working with Infosys as technology lead, and here are some of my social media handles. The same. So talking about the web part, here are the high level features of the web part. So it will provision all the necessary list automatically once you deploy the solution. I have used Office UI Fabric for all the controls and styling part. Use PNP.js and of course TypeScript with React, and also use React hooks for the same. So for demo part, right? So basically, yeah. So any user can add any question and give the appropriate option in the list. Right? So here is the list structure. It do have question option 1 and 2, which are mandatory. 3 and 4 are non-mandatory, and we can only see the question which are active. Right? So here is the view. So let's say as a user, I would like to select this option and submit it. Once submit, it will show the graph for all the input answers. Let me do same for any other user. Like I do have other user as well. Let's say he selects hybrid and submit. Now we can see one option for the first option and one option for the last option. Talking about the code tool, right? So this is the solution. So here, first thing is these are the XML files which will provision all the fields. Right? So here, all the fields which are needed for both of the list. Then it will also provision all the content types which are required for the list. And these are the list instanced. Right, so we do have two lists, one for questions and one for answers. Right. Next is so this is the common file which will execute first. Right, so these are all the dependency that we need to get here, and we have used React hooks for the same. So this is the import of the custom hook. Now talking about the hook, we have used PNP.js and React version. 16, right? So first we set up the context for the PNP.js. Then these are all the supported method like get question from the list and so on. Next one is get the answer. If user already gave the answer, then he can see the graph. Otherwise, he can see all the option to select and submit button. And this is the method for submitting the answer. So it will submit the answer in separate list called answers with the current user's email address. And this is the UI part. Basically, if the user already gave the answer, then he can see the chart. And if he doesn't give the answer, he can see all the question and answer. Yeah. So the source code is available on the PNP SPFx web parts. Right. That's it from my side.
Awesome. Very much appreciate that, Harsh. Thank you very much for sharing all that. Since we've got a little bit extra time here, I wanted to ask, so how much experience have you had developing these prior to this? Just wondering.
So for SPFx, I do have 4 years of experience.
Oh, great. Yeah, that shows. Okay, that makes sense. Great. Excellent job. And then I guess we'll go ahead and jump over here. I think Adam, you've already started to share, right? So Adam, if you want to go ahead and jump in, then you've got plenty of time here. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So finally, I don't have to speed up or run. I usually do. I hope you can hear me and see my slides. And I hope I won't have any unexpected questions from you, Chris. Okay, hi everybody. This is SharePoint Framework Toolkit, second demo out of our free demo series. And in this part, I will be presenting how this toolkit can be used to boost your SPFx development and also tooling that it uses or are really close to it. Okay, we'll see. So basically, if the slides start moving, I hope, come on. Okay, so hi everybody, my name is Adam. I'm a father of a really awesome kid and a simple dev, nothing special here. If you have any kind of question or need some support, do reach me out directly. Many folks already did, and I answered them. So let's go forward. If you don't know what SharePoint Framework Toolkit is, there was a first part of this demo series where I did the really startup of this tool. So how to download it, what's it all about, what's the beginning section, how this tool can help you start your journey with SharePoint Framework development in general, and with SharePoint Framework in general, not only with this toolkit. But just a small recap. So this is a VS Code extension that you can download from the VS Code marketplace or embedded in the VS Code or from the web page. It's open source and open for contributions. It's built together with Microsoft. So the bigger features we are introducing in the major releases, like now in the V3 and now those that we are planning for V4, we are checking with Microsoft employees if we are on the right track, or maybe there will be a Microsoft supported product that will actually do the same. And if not, then this is our place where the community can jump in and provide this additional tooling. It has a built-in sample gallery, which I present in the last demo. Today, I will maybe, if I have time, show it a bit. Beneath it uses the same tooling as Microsoft does for the scaffolding process, so the Yeoman SharePoint generator. So we didn't reinvent the wheel here, and it uses CLI for Microsoft 365, as it's CLI under the hood. So it comes along with CLI bundled. You don't have to install it separately. Similar, like maybe if you use Teams Toolkit, also Teams Toolkit VS Code extension, there's also a Teams Toolkit CLI. So this is like a similar kind of approach. Okay. And why would you use SharePoint Framework Toolkit at all? Well, as you can see, we have a bunch of features that will support you from the very beginning of the process of creating your project to over the coding, extending, managing your solutions as well, delivering, scaffolding a pipeline, production-ready pipeline to make this CI/CD kind of flow for your project, and learning and helping you learn. And now there's an AI assistant, which is your SPFx yellow duck you can always use and have support with SPFx development. And today I will be focusing on the 3 main pillars in the middle. So the manage, the code, and a bit the deploy. I won't be touching the generating the the GitHub workflow and the Azure DevOps pipeline, because these are really huge features and a huge investment we did in SPFx Toolkit and the CLI as well, the CLI for Microsoft 365. So it will be a separate demo, the third one. Okay, and I won't be doing the slides unless something will not work. So I'll now jump to my VS Code. This is VS Code Insiders. That's why it's green, not because we have different VS Code here, but the standard VS Code, just like a beta version of it. It's like an early version. And here, as you can see here, I have my SPFx toolkit already installed. I downloaded from the VS Code marketplace, and I'm in the context of some project. This is actually a project with a web part project, SPFx web part project, yeah, which is developed by Guido Zambarda, who's with us on this call. So really awesome. And I used his work as my work now, it's my example. And since I am in the context of an SPFx project, the SPFx toolkit will present differently than what I presented the last time. So it's already the context change. It's not the welcome experience and how to get started, how to create a new project, but it's, okay, you're in your project. What want you to do now? So I'll turn the help and feedback section since I presented it last time, and today we'll be focusing on the middle areas. So first thing you will see is the account section. Is basically some of those features, and some of the features that are not present now are available when you're logged into your tenant. It's not obligatory. It's not obligatory. You don't have to log in, so you can still leverage some features of this toolkit, like all of the gold tasks, or generate even an upgrade guidance or validate guidance for your project, or even scaffold the CI/CD pipeline. But you won't be able to grant API permissions of your SPFx toolkit on your tenant if you're not logged into your tenant. So basically, it won't work. I want to click it now. I'm not sure if it will just crash. Okay, so let's sign in. The process is really easy. It will open the browser for you. As you can see, it also copied that it says device code authentication, and it's already copied to your clipboard, so you don't have to copy it manually. I just paste it, and then I pick an account which I want to use to log into a tenant I want to log in. So I'll be using my dev tenant, and unfortunately I have to type the password since it's very long. I hope I had it right. Okay, continue. Basically approve everything, and then close the browser. And after it's done properly, I hope it is, usually SPFx toolkit thinks you're using not VS Code Insiders beta, but standard VS Code, so that's why it launched VS Code, not VS Code Insiders. I'll close this one. But in the meantime, under the hood, as you can see, this area changed. So the account is now bigger, and now I have a new area, which is app catalogs, which is populated based on data from my tenant. Okay, let's see what we have here. So these are kind of the managed part I shown on the slides before. There's nothing very big here yet, but we'll be investing in this area a lot. Okay, so we will so this is like a first steps, and many features in this toolkit is actually first steps we did in some area. I want to improve it. So first we have like your basic information about your tenant, like your main SharePoint page, your admin page, or the page to the web API permissions. Usually as developers, SPFx developers, probably many times visit and don't want to click all of this, and we usually don't remember the URL, so it's just a single click drop. There is a section, the services health incidents that are currently active on your tenant. If I would click on it, it will redirect me to the standard service health issue list. So the issue didn't load, but basically it should load the issue connected with Microsoft Teams. Currently I have on my tenant. In future, we will want this section to be configurable to hide it if it provides too much noise. Then in the middle section, we have the app catalog list. So this basically provides you a list of all your app catalogs you have in your tenant. So your global, your tenant-wide app catalog. And along with that, you have the list of your tenant-wide extensions that are already deployed on your tenant. So this kind of important information for us developers to see what's like tenant-wide deployed and could impact my development or the things I'm doing now. And currently, these are only links. We don't support any kind of functionality here, but we want to add additional like retract or remove or maybe redeploy, so promote from a site level catalog to a tenant level app catalog your solution. So more managed capabilities will come here for sure. And also we want to give you a support action that will give you the opportunity, the functionality to create an app catalog. Either it will be either a tenant app catalog if it's not present on your tenant, or a site level app catalog. And also, okay, here's the site app catalogs I have on my tenant, and it also does the links of all your site of your app catalogs you have on your tenant to make it really easy peasy. What's my architecture currently on my tenant? Okay, that I use the tenant for very lot. Okay, doesn't matter. So the next section is the tasks. So these are basically the most commonly used gulp tasks you probably use every day when you're doing any kind of SPFx development. So like the bundle and the package, all of the things that are needed to build this package, which I already created prematurely in this demo, so we won't need to wait because usually those are kind of timely. And also the serve button. There's also a serve option with configuration. If you are probably, let's close this one, where in the serve option we can provide different configurations, basically how we want to serve our project. This is the typical thing we usually do in SPFx extensions, where we provide different parameters or different sites where we want to or lists that we want this extension to be served at this moment. And this tool also supports and understands this this config. So if I would click on the serve configuration now, you can see it presents me the same list, and I can click on the serve option I'm interested in, and it will start the standard gulp serve with the specified config. I will terminate this one and the terminal, and it will launch like standard serve command you would use from terminal. So it's a really shortcut, especially helpful when you are new to SPFx development, and all of those kind of hackies, maybe sometimes commands could be hard to find, and here you have all of those that are listed out, and you can just leverage and use them. And then we have the actions. So these are like awesome boosters that are that were created based on typical scenarios and feedback we got from you. What are the most difficult things or challenges you have when doing SPFx development? And we have many ideas and things we want to include here. So be aware that the list will be probably getting longer and longer, or maybe more features will be coming up, and more of those parts of the SPFx toolkit. So in the first, we can do the upgrade guidance. So for example, this web part I created from the SPFx web part gallery. So I just clicked on the view samples. This is the same sample gallery you can see in the Microsoft adoption page when you would filter for all of the web parts, extensions, and ACEs. And I just created this project based on a sample I found here directly in VS Code. Then I noticed that, okay, this is not the latest SPFx version I want to use, and I want to get what I need to change to basically upgrade it. So this toolkit will not do the upgrade for you, because you could have many custom things that are, for example, compatible with the previous version of SPFx, but not with the latest, and we don't support all of possible NPM packages, but just the standard Microsoft NPM packages that come along with your project. And if we will create the upgrade guidance, it's really quick. You'll get a file which is a step-by-step, all of the things you need to go over, and at the very end you have a summary section with a single script. Usually you have to run, and maybe some small manual steps you have to do to get it all done. And we already want to improve this area to create a code tour. So this will be a step-by-step guidance in code in the places you need to actually change. So this is the improvement we want to create here. Then you have the validate project section. Currently, it will say that everything is okay. So basically, it validates if my packages are aligned with the latest SPFx version. So if I would, for example, change some the standard Microsoft package that comes along when you scaffold as SPFx project to some later version, so not kind of thing you want to support, and probably could introduce bugs. If now I would run the validate project section, okay, now it said, okay, one thing is actually not valid. You're using the 1.16 version. You should be using for your project 1.18.2 because you are using SPFx 1.18.2. And of course, as well, there's a summary section with a single script that will fix it up for you. What's really important here to notice that all of the things, maybe not all, but most of the things, especially in the actions section, are used over CLI for Microsoft 365. So what I said at the beginning with the slide that SPFx Toolkit comes along with CLI bundled, it's because we've leveraged the functionalities that were already done in the CLI, or we first extend CLI for Microsoft 365, so then we can add an additional kind of UI layer or additional improvements or shortcuts to those functionalities directly in this toolkit. But if we would now expand the output and select the SharePoint Framework Toolkit, you will see that basically here you have this, we list out all of the commands we are actually running when clicking on this functionality. So if I would now correct this back, oh, sorry, here. Okay, really awesome. Okay, could be like this. Oh, VS Code got lost here a bit. Okay, but basically, if I corrected the mistakes, I hope, and now I would click the validate option again. Okay, the SPFx Toolkit says it's valid, and also you will see the same thing outputted in the terminal, the same thing we used. So we used CLI for Microsoft 365 in this feature, and if you would go most of the features here, so in the actions section, you will see in the output the commands. We do it so you have this guidance how you, if you would like to use your terminal rather than an UI layer like SPFx Toolkit to support your development, we are totally open about it, and we try to help you here as much as we can. So now you could just copy paste this command and probably run it in the context of your project, thus adding the M365 at the beginning. And the beginning, if the copy paste, oh, one moment, I know what's going on. Okay, now it should work. And terminal. Okay, and if I would run this command here, okay, I would need also to add the output markdown, because this is what we leverage in this toolkit. There's no array of problems with my project, but if you're familiar with CLI, you know that you can specify many kind of output options for the commands, and we usually use the markdown. So this is the most readable thing we present you in the VS Code output. And as you can see, this is the same report. So you can either use the CLI if you're like a terminal kind of guy, hacky kind of guy, and the terminal is okay for you. If you want an additional UI layer above it and additional improvements and shortcut up on top of CLI commands, you should probably using SPFx Toolkit. And also CLI for Microsoft 365 give you more functionalities in managing Microsoft 365, not only SPFx projects. And this toolkit is only about, boosting your SPFx development, and it's targeting here. Maybe this will change in a bit, but for now, no more spoilers. Another action we have is the rename. So this is a typical thing we do when we, for example, add a test kind of thing in our name, or we downloaded some sample from some place, we build it. Okay, this is the thing we wanted, and now we want to rename it. I will leave it with new world, and I want to also to have the scaffolded a new ID for it. And as you can see, let's see the Git changes. Okay, besides the reports which I presented before, as you can see, it changed all of the places where it found the last name, which was new in my case, and also generated a new ID for my project, which is pretty cool. And I think what I wanted, and a typical scenario, probably many of you already had to overcome. So what are the areas I need to change? Where are those configs and all of the things that are at least need to be changed, so my web part or extension or whatever will be presented with a new name over SharePoint. Okay, so really cool to have this action here. Then we have the grant API permission. So what was that all about? In the, probably already know, in the package that solution.json, we can specify additional web API permissions that will come along, let's say, when we will deploy this project to our either site level or tenant level app catalog, and then they will show up here in the web API permissions. So then admin can approve them, and our web parts, all of the web parts, all of the SPFx things can now leverage and have these permissions to use those API. Okay, cool. What if we have a typical scenario where we downloaded some sample and we don't want to build it and deploy it on our tenant? Let's say we just want to serve it on our workbench. Yeah, it won't work. if we want this permission to show up there, we either have to add it manually, which is probably not recommended, or basically bundle package it and deploy it. So then it will show up in the web API permissions. What if I don't want to go over for all of this process? I just want to have this permission and run on my workbench. That's why we created the grant API permission. This is a feature that will go over all your web API permissions list, and you can see it will deploy in that. And if I will go back to my web API permissions management site, I should see this to be now approved or rejected. Unfortunately, we cannot approve or reject it for you. Yeah, so this is not something an API can do yet. Okay, the next thing is the deploy project thing. So also a typical action you probably do every time you want to deploy something or redeploy. The biggest improvement here, there's a total shortcut. So you don't have to go redirect to the page, either do it manually, run or type the CLI command or whatever. You can just click here and, click here. And now you can either deploy it to the tenant app catalog or to a site level app catalog, like the PMP demo. And if I go to the PMP demo, okay, it was working still in the background, but maybe, okay, it's already there. So it's already on SharePoint. SPFx Toolkit is still figuring out if it's already there. Okay, it's there. So you can see it's really easy, just a single click and a few seconds and it's done. Yeah. So a typical use case we do. Now, also, we usually want to extend our project. Well, maybe not usually, but if we're working on a bigger project, maybe it's not only a single web part, but in the context of our solution, we have a web part, an extension, maybe some ACE, whatever. What if we want to extend our solution here with an additional, let's say, an extension? Okay, so probably we need to run the Yeoman SharePoint generator in the context of a project, or we can use this toolkit and have an additional UI layer above it. So I will just say that I want to extend it with a new component. My component, I'm targeting an extension. My extension will be, the name of my extension will be, of course, test. As usual, I do test kind of things. Let's say I want a form customizer, and I will be using React. Cool. We just click OK. And as you can see in the output, we are doing the same thing Microsoft recommends and the Microsoft tooling that is supposed to be used to extend the project. So using the Yeoman SharePoint generator, and that's already done. Yes, it is. Okay, so it's extended. The form is closed, so it had to work. Okay, awesome. So these are the actions and the tooling that will boost your development and will give you a lot of shortcuts, and I hope save you a lot of time. I won't be presenting the CI/CD workflow because this is a huge functionality that allows you to generate a CI/CD pipeline or a workflow either for GitHub or Azure DevOps. I will be presenting in the third demo. But I think I want to point out also is the third area we are improving. So besides you can boost your development using terminal and CLI for Microsoft 365 and using additional shortcut functionalities and boosters from VS Code, typical UI, you now can also, I think more of us are getting familiar with, chat about your project, and this will help you extend. One thing I forgot. Okay, I will show it later on. I have some time. Not a lot of time. Okay, anyway, just a few things. So this is a typical GitHub Copilot chat. You can probably, most of you are already leveraging, but now if you have SPFx Toolkit, it comes along with a bit spoiler here. Okay, with SPFx chat participant. And now you can ask it like dedicated questions towards your SPFx development. As you can see, now it's not that GitHub Copilot is responding, but our PMP Parker SPFx Toolkit is now responding to my questions. So for example, I can now ask him to, how can I build my solution to deploy it on my tenant? I don't need to specify that I'm talking about an SPFx project or I want to be using a specific tooling. It's already grounded. So the biggest improvement here is that you probably could do the same things, at least now, with standard GitHub Copilot chat, but this is already grounded and fine-tuned for SPFx development things. And we come along with a couple of commands. So new and setup are dedicated when you are you're setting up your development or you're creating a new project. And there's also a code command where you can provide a code-related questions like how to create I don't know, React components with web part context. Yeah, probably not the best case, but anyway, Still, this is a really early beta, and we are improving a lot in this functionality. So the dedicated GitHub Copilot chat for SPFx development. So there are many things probably that are not working or giving not the best and fine-tuned and the latest and greatest, but it's not supposed to be this yet, okay? So this was supposed to be your yellow SPFx doc to help you getting started and talking about SPFx context-related things. And as I use the code command, it's not only giving me a response and code, of course, but also actions. And these are the same actions I shown you in the SPFx toolkit. You can directly click from the chat. So this is like a third thing you can use in your SPF when you want to boost your SPFx, so like validate your project. This is the same functionality, so they're all aware of it. Okay, the last thing I want to present are the snippets. So it comes our SPFx toolkit, change language. Comes along with coding snippets that will boost your development if you get familiar with them. So I guess there is some introduction you need to go over. But if you start typing SPFx dash, now you have all of the commands that are huge shortcuts for writing code. So for example, I want a standard React component for SPFx development ready, or for example, already with state, and I have placeholders. I just need to rename to the component I want. Okay. Also, there are some more advanced things like the blueprint of a use context with a hook. Okay. Or really easy kind of things like a typical graph call, like a starting point for more elaborate functionality, but a shortcut you can already use. And it's not only about TypeScript components, but also if I would change the language to styles, to Sass, the SPFx snippets also have here, so you don't have to remember those MS delivered classes. We have all you covered here, so you don't have to transit between a web page. And also, if you want to extend, for example, this part, web API permission, usually if we don't have it, either we are really pro and remember by heart, or you can find it in the browser, in the web, or you can ask Copilot about it, or you can use our toolkit, and you just have a few clicks like SPFx API, and it will generate this section for you. And also, we provide basic scopes. You don't need to remember them, but the typical scopes usually as developers use. Okay, I need to speed up a bit. So this is the things I wanted to present. Let's go back to the slides, people, really quick. So yeah, this I already showed, and just a quick sum up. Okay. So today I presented how SPFx Toolkit can be used to improve and speed up your coding, know your good task, upgrade your project, validate your project, rename, and a lot more. If you are using VS Code for your SPFx development, this is for sure your extension you should be using to help you code. But if you so the coding snippets as well, and all of those functionalities here. But if you are more familiar and more kind of person that want to use your terminal, of course, the very similar functionalities, not all of them, but similar functionalities can be used directly using CLI from Microsoft 365. And here I listed out the commands that should be used to mirror the same functionalities the SPFx Toolkit. So actually, SPFx Toolkit uses CLI to provide those functionalities. So it all depends if you are more into VS Code and UI kind of thing or terminal kind of thing. And now also we introduce the third area, which is chatting about your project, and the GitHub Copilot chat participant that has less functionalities, but also can provide you code advice, so not snippets, not perfect code, but guidance, and also have functionalities that you can generate the validate, upgrade, rename buttons directly from the chat. Okay, so I took a lot of time since I had a lot of time, and thanks for watching, everybody. Be sure to check out repo if you want to contribute to this tool, join our community to chat about it, and happy coding, everybody. Back to you, Chris.
It was quite the run through. Awesome. So yeah, so I guess there's a little bit of functionality in that. So maybe we should check that out, right? What do we think? So awesome demos, everyone. Thank you so much. Really appreciate Guido and Adam coming back, and Harsh, thank you so much for an excellent first-time demo. Really awesome stuff. And if you're looking to provide feedback on the call structure in general, if you've got nice things to say about the demos, reach out directly to those people. They provided their contact information. Let them know, right? Sometimes you get off these and nobody says anything, and you were sitting in a room and you didn't hear anything, and you're wondering, was I disconnected? So reach out to them, tell them what a great job they did. But if you're interested in providing feedback on the structure of the calls and how we do any of that stuff, this is the link for you, and we do read that, and we would love to hear from you. Anything we need to improve or do better, or things that you love. All right, and then of course we have this Discord server we mentioned before. Adam, I know, is extremely active over there. it sounds like he's active in everything. So, but if you have questions about this or anything else we talked about today or anything else that comes up, this is a great spot. You can catch people live. You can see all sorts of things at the blog here as well. It's a great spot to stay in touch with everyone. And then finally, this call will be pushed to a community learning YouTube channel that we talked about. So within 24 hours, you'll see it up there. If you're here in the chat, you won't be able to click the one that shows up there. So just wait for that community call here, and you can watch it on recording. In case Adam was not fast enough for you, you can speed him up even further. So that sounds like a great idea. All right, thanks everybody, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.